This is literally going to transform your intonation and bow control in 1 week. I'm going to teach you how to put 128 notes in your bow. 7, 8, I didn't make it. I feel like I'm like letting you in on a secret. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Corey. I'm a violinist. I've been playing the violin for about 30 years and teaching for over 15 years. I love sharing any tips or tricks or anything that I've learned through the years that I think will be helpful to you here. Okay, so you're here because you probably want to improve your bow control or your intonation, or both. Trust me, it's gonna do wonders for you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how to put 128 notes in your bow. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna buy this book. It's called Schradieck. I'll leave a link in the description. I will see if I can find just like a PDF download for you as well. If I found it, it's in the description. So you've got your book. Open up to the first page. We're gonna do this first line today. Now you can do this whole book, as much of it as you want to. It's all absolutely incredible, and it's all kind of, you do the same exact thing on all of it, but it's amazing finger patterns. I might get in trouble for saying this, but I am not a huge etudes person. I don't love practicing etudes. I've never understood the purpose of practicing etudes when I feel like there's other things you can practice that teach you the same thing. And this is one of those things that I think work. Also, y'all, I am back to playing my favorite violin. My little Louise. She's a girl. If you're like an intermediate player and you're looking for a new violin, okay, I'm done being married. So you have your Schradieck book. We're gonna play each note one bow at a time. We're gonna ignore this big, huge slur for right now. And you're gonna use every single inch of your bow. When you start, you're gonna start with a frog. And you see how I'm starting right here at the top of my first finger? Like literally my first finger sitting on my A. That's what you're gonna do, is play the first note, whole entire bow. All the way to the tip. See, tip, 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 all the way to the tip. Back to that first finger. Tip. Gonna play the whole thing, but you get the idea. 2 notes per bow, the entire bow, starting at the frog, and we're gonna play the first note in the lower half of the bow. As soon as we hit that center, we're gonna change notes. Watch this. Next is 4 notes per bow. You're gonna put 2 in the lower half and 2 in the upper half, like this. As we're speeding this up, always know you have 2 options. Slow your bow down or speed up your fingers. Sometimes you're gonna have to do a mixture of both. In the beginning, as we are playing this so slowly, I want you to make sure that every single finger is perfect. It's the same exact thing over and over and over again. Your 4th finger should be in the same exact place over and over and over again. If you notice that one of your fingers is out of tune, fix it immediately. You're teaching your ear to be aware of when it's out of tune and when it is not. If you're not exactly sure, pull out your tuner and check each note. You're playing it so slowly from the beginning, literally 1 note at a time using your full bow. You have time to check if you're in tune. Also, when you're playing 128 notes in your bow, you are not gonna be thinking about if your notes are in tune or not. You're gonna be more worried about getting all those notes in. Nail your intonation right now. Next is 8 notes per bow. So you're gonna put 4 in your lower half and 4 in the upper half. $16, 8 in the lower half, 8 in the upper half. Again, all you're doing is either slowing your bow down or speeding up your fingers the whole time. That's it. $32, that's the entire line in 1 bow. So now we are following this slur here. We're gonna put this first measure in the lower half and the second measure in the upper half. Something I find that is extremely helpful when I do this is to count the sections in 8s. So I always count the A, so 1 da 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 da, 2 da 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 da, 3 da 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 da, 4 da 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 da. And that helps me to count and make sure I'm doing the sequence enough times. So every time I get to an open A, I count. I'll show you what I mean. So we're gonna put 2 sequences in the lower half and 2 sequences in the upper half. Each sequence has 8 notes, which is 32. 2, 3, ooh, I didn't quite make it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next is 64. So we have to put this entire line twice through in one bow. The entire line one time in the lower half, the entire line one time in the upper half. So remember how we counted 4 sequences? So it's 4 sequences in the lower half and then 4 sequences in the upper half. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 96 is a little bit tricky because instead of being in groups of 4, like music loves to be in groups of 4, this is 3. So we're putting the line in our bow 3 times. So what I find is helpful, rather than thinking like 1 and then 2 and 3, is thinking of putting 6 sequences in the lower half and 6 sequences in the upper half. And that's gonna sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, I should have used a little bit more bow. Do you see how much I have left? Could have fit another sequence and that's not very good. You want to use the entire bow each time. And this brings us to 128. We are now playing this line 4 times. So the line twice in the lower half and twice in the upper half. Again, I love counting the sequences. So that's going to be 8 sequences in the lower half and 8 sequences in the upper half. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So like I said, this is going to improve your intonation, but it's also going to improve your bow control because now you can play 128 notes in one bow. Also, you can probably play faster now. Now, this also gives you so many options because like I said, you can either speed up your fingers or slow down your bow. In a lot of cases, I sped up my fingers. If your fingers aren't able to move that quickly yet, slow down your bow instead, and you can still get 128 notes in your bow. Let me just preface this by saying, we are not playing this in a concert. You are not playing this for your friends. This is what you are playing for yourself. So if it doesn't sound beautiful, if your bow sounds a little scratchy or maybe a little squeaky, that's okay. Your goal is to get 128 notes in your bow and to make it sound as pretty as you can. I'm putting in the description how you're gonna practice this to get to 128 notes in 7 days. It's a very simple pattern, just repeating that pattern over and over and over again and speeding it up a little bit. So if you're wondering, well, where should I practice Schradieck in my practice session? I'm gonna link for you my how to practice video with my 5 steps of how to practice, as well as my practice journal. It's totally free, just download it, it's amazing. So I usually have like 3 exercises I'm doing for the day. And if it's maybe Schradieck and then Schradieck, which we did today, Sevchik, which is like shifting, and then maybe something for vibrato, I will practice Schradieck first. So I'll practice my scales, and the next thing I do right after that is I do Schradieck. And the reason is that it's teaching bow control. It's still setting up your intonation because like we talked about with scales are setting up your intonation in your ear for the day. Schradieck is also doing that. So it's also practicing your bow control, your intonation, getting your fingers moving quickly. It's doing everything, honestly. Schradieck's amazing. And then after that, I will go into like shifting and vibrato because it's so important that you get your fingers moving first, especially before you jump into vibrato. If this seems daunting, just try it. Because trust me, it's actually not nearly as hard as you think it is. Okay, you guys, that's all I have for today. Good luck and happy practicing. Oh, hey, if you have not yet subscribed, you definitely should and join our little violin community.